Hi everybody, how are you doing? Sorry it was a late night tonight at work and I'm already in the dark. So again, I'm going to try to do my best and let's get started. Tonight I'm going to go over some more cases, and some of these really blow my mind because it says everything you really need to hear about employees of the government and how sick and twisted it can really get, and who are really in these positions and how dangerous they can really be. And it becomes very scary. And again, yesterday I talked about people not wanting to say their truth. And I know I was kind of overtired and overwhelmed yesterday. And once again, my subscriber came to the rescue. And it all comes down to fear. Fear is one of the things. And the other that I said last night is people pleasing. People want to please everybody around them instead of saying their truth. And it's right next to fear. Fear of what they're going to say, how they're going to think about you, how they're going to react to what you say. Are you then going to be kicked out of the group? Are people going to distance themselves from you? And if that's the case, then you don't need people like that in your life. And if you're the person doing it, you really need to change something with inside you. Because I don't care if it's, and my husband has passed away, so don't really like to go here, but if my husband was here and we had a disagreement, then we disagree. And some things we agree to disagree on. But that doesn't make me not love him or want to be around him or want a divorce, just like if you have a good friend, and I don't always have to agree with them, because it's about us having and being able to have our own feelings and emotions and thoughts and opinions. And nobody should be judged on that. Unless it's in a violent or hurtful way. Then, of course, that's different. But again, sometimes you're agreeing to things in America, like these government employees, that are dangerous and harmful and do a lot of damage. And there is no fight there. Again, then we go back to where I feel it's either right or wrong. It's that simple. And if it's wrong, you have to get rid of it or stop it from happening. You can't keep allowing it to continue. And that takes us uniting and standing up and saying, hey, this is wrong. And we can't allow this to continue to happen. And you have to be strong enough to do that. Because if not, you might as well lay down in the road and just start letting people walk all over you. Or go ahead and move to one of those countries where you have no rights. But that's not supposed to be America, but it's slowly getting there. And the people running it are very corrupt. And I kind of want to bring this up just because it's something I heard today, and I hope it's true. If he's different than Republican or Democrats, I would vote for him 100%. And he's got the money to back him, so nobody can push him out. And I heard The Rock, Dwayne Johnson is going to possibly run for president. He's in the talks with people. And if that is not just a joke, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for, mayor or governor or whatever it was in his area, and Trump, people that you wouldn't expect to become a politician. Now, I'm pretty much thinking he's not in the ballpark of Republican or Democrat, because there are threats that if he does run, it's basically both are going to come for him full force for that hold on control. That there should tell you people enough to wake up. They are not going to let anybody else steal that hold from them too, because they're friends. They use each other to get what they want. And they play off each other. Boom, 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 boom. To make sure we don't get what we deserve. So, Dwayne, The Rock Johnson, whatever, go for it. Go for it. I would back you 110% if you are not playing on either team. And all of you should too. But I want to, before I definitely put both feet in on that, I want to look into what he has to offer, which I don't know what kind of direction he would go in, because this is just in the talks and it hasn't come to light. He hasn't given any information yet. I want to try to deep dive later tonight into it and see if it's real, which I'm pretty sure, because they said he's in the talks with people to start getting ready. And I want to see where his head is at. And if it's in another direction away from all of this that's going on today, I would definitely jump on that bandwagon. So that's just a thought I had to throw in there because I heard it today and I was like, you know, and you seen the, Walking Tall? I seen him in that, and he cleaned up that town. So let's see if he can clean up America. If he thinks, in an opposite direction and could take us in a better direction. So let's look into that and feel that out. Now, all right, I'm going to dive into some of these stories. And again, I bring you these stories to open your eyes and wake you up. I still am going to look into my subscribers. Mind blank again, sorry. His advice to me, and look it up this weekend and see where I can go with that. But tonight we're going to finish out the week with some of these, and I think they're very important. And again, if you want to hear the whole stories, I could do that, but some of them are very, very lengthy. I just want to get to who's doing it, why, what it's costing us, okay? And to read the whole thing would be a lot on some of these. So here we go. This is in Virginia, in Petersburg. 6 indicted for bribery scheme at federal prison. 2 correction officers, inmates, and inmates' family members charged in bribery scheme. They charged 6 individuals with conspiracy to bribe staff members and receive bribes as staff members at Federal Correctional Institution, Petersburg, to introduce drugs, cigarettes, and cellular phones into the federal prison, and to allow the running, get this, of inmate gambling operations in violation of Bureau of Prison regulations. I'm sorry. I hate doing that on here, but I gotta keep it wet. Because if not, I stumble my words. Okay, according to the indictment, Stephen Taylor, 48, and Shanice Bullock, 28, who are or were employees at the prison, sought to receive tens of thousands of dollars over the course of the conspiracy to facilitate sorry guys, facilitate one of those words, facilitate I don't know why. I could say the words all day long, and then all of a sudden I get on here and I don't know if it's and I get tongue-tied. All right, I'm going to skip that. You know what I'm saying? And again, we get a good laugh. So, and I won't edit it. Sorry, guys. If you can't laugh with me and not be brutal, I guess, don't watch me, even though I love having everybody here. And I would hate that. The introduction of the controlled substance, cigarettes, and cell phones. Okay, charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States. All 6 were charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States, multiple counts of offering bribes and receiving bribes by police officials. Now, get this. Most of the time, how do they talk about people who are in jail? Think about that. These correctional officers treat people like scumbags, like trash, inhumane. They bully, they beat, they sometimes take it further. And they're so hard on calling them criminals, and they don't know any backstories. They don't know what these people have been through. They don't know if they're mentally stable. And drug addiction is a disease. I have dealt with people I love that have, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have, and with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and you have to really be a cold person not to see it. And I see that a lot too. And sometimes they're self-medicating. And I'm sure I've said this in other videos. And it's not that they mean to be these people. It's they're fighting their own battles and demons inside them. And it doesn't mean that people don't love them and care for them. And it doesn't mean they're inhumane. So to treat anybody like that, it's disgusting and repulsive to me. You have certain addicts who don't care. They will do it just for the high. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care about anything. And those little group of those people are a lot different than somebody who's tried or continues to try to do right. And it's just that evil monkey on their back that just keep calling them back. So you don't know why a person's where they are. And a lot of it, again, is to the upbringing. Some people are raised in a very horrible area. And the statistics for them getting out of there are very low. And there needs to be help in that situation too, because I know people, again, who come from very bad areas. And they would have made very different choices if they could have grown up somewhere else. And they get older and wiser and sometimes do get away from it. And then they want to better themselves, but they can't because they're carrying the past with them and the charges. That's why I believe in some instances, once you're done with your court case and you've done everything and you haven't been in trouble for a while, you should be able to get rid of those charges. They should not follow you for life. Because people who have tried to turn their life around, it makes it very hard or impossible. And then you want to criticize them because they can't turn their life around. Again, there's so many avenues that I wish I had the money and power to change in this world, because it's just so evil and it's so not right what goes on in our world today. And the judgment and the treatment. And let me tell you, if you feel you're better than anybody else, that's your biggest problem. Anybody who acts like that, I have no respect for, because we're all human and we all deserve to live a good life. And I don't need money to make me happy. Trust me. I need money to survive, but I don't need money to make me happy. I never have and I never will. And let me tell you, I had a mother who used to try to put in my head that it was about finding money and being rich and finding someone rich and this and that. I didn't let that get in my head, and I never will. I am who I am, and I don't need to try to change to be anybody else for anybody else. And I thank God I have a strong core, and I had a great grandmother who really was my mother, who raised me for the majority of my young life. My biological mother, I hate to even say mother, because she was horrible. And I've grown a lot, and everything not to be like her. And sometimes people in my position end up being everything their mother wants them to be and leads them in a total wrong direction. And again, you can't blame that person. So before you judge people, you should know their walk of life. And the sad point is, some people are so disgusting in their head that, and in the insides, they can't see that or past anything else. Sorry on a rant, but kind of goes with the story. But anyways, that's how they treat these people. Now, they're criminals themselves. They're doing the same thing and even worse because they're supposed to be held to a higher standard. And they're helping these criminals, as they would say, commit crimes. Now they're going to end up right where them criminals are. Are they going to feel the same way about themselves? Point proven. And I bet all their parents were so proud of them. They got these good jobs with the county, as correctional officers, and blah, 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 blah. And now you're a prisoner. And do you want people to treat you as you treated those people? And call them names and look like they're beneath people? Other people, I should say. Or even people, because they're not even looked at like people. They're just logged as criminals. They're always somebody's loved ones. So that was a point I wanted to make on that story. Okay. Then we have in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, another one. Former corrections officer and federal detainee indicted for bribery, conspiracy involving contraband cell phones smuggled into the Indiana jail. Let me take these couple papers off again. Always forget to do it before I get on here, because then I gotta pull them off the clipboard as I go one by one. Okay. Alex Lewis, 25, and Rashawn Richards, 30, with conspiracy to commit bribery of a public official, and use of a facility in interstate commerce in aid of bribery. Lewis is also charged with extortion under color of official rights to bribe, and the bribe amounts official rights. And then I put the bribe amounts were $400 in payments. So the guy would have other people meet up with him and give him $400 in cash. And I think once I finish reading this one also, oh no, I didn't write it down here. I think he also used the Cash App once. A lot of these use Cash App, by the way. Like 3 of them today, I seen Cash App. So I made this one short because it's over cell phones. Yes, they get in the jail and they're used for very bad things. So I get it. And again, this is another public official, public employee that's helping a criminal smuggle something into the jails. Okay. November 16th, Houston, Texas. And I love Texas. I used to anyways. And I've been there once. And I had a step-grandpa that lived up there. And it was beautiful when I went up there. Now, the heat, I don't understand how it sometimes gets hotter than Florida there. But it was brutal in the summertime. But I always hear such horrible stories about Texas and the things that go on there. And we all know that's a very, very red state. So, anyways, former officer charged with sexually assaulting 2 women while on duty. Authorities are seeking other potential victims following the return of an indictment against a 25-year-old Arcola man on federal civil rights violations, announced U.S. Attorney Ryan K. Patrick. Hector Aaron Ruse is a former officer with the Arcola, I think that's how you say it, Arcola Police Department, but is no longer employed there. They had to make sure they said that. The charges allege he committed aggravated sexual abuse and kidnapping while serving on his official capacity as a law enforcement officer. He is charged with 2 counts of depriving 2 separate victims of their right to body integrity. If convicted, he faces up to a life in prison. I doubt that, just because of who he is. He will not get that bad of a charge, and that's the other problem that needs to be changed in America. I don't want to hear, and I left a lot of that out, oh, everybody, is not above the law and we charge as, but if you finally get to the charges, which were not on here, they're never, and I'll prove that with one of my other cases, they're never what they should be. What this man did, and doing it while on duty, and also when I finish reading, you're going to see everything else, he should have got life. Okay. Especially because we're supposed to be able to trust these people. And as you can see, this is 3 different stories where you cannot. Okay. He also faces charges of 2 counts of carrying and using a firearm in a crime of violence, as well as falsifying dashboard camera and body microphone recordings with intent to obstruct the federal investigation. His max charges 20 years in prison, 5 years served consecutively to any other prison term for the firearm, and I bet he'll get close to nothing. Again, firearms involved, women violated, on duty, probably held a gun to them, and he will receive none of those 20 years, the 5 consecutive following, or anything else. It should have been a harsh sentence, and I guarantee you it is not. Now, and I don't know how today all of them fell under this, because I just go down a line and pick. And these all were in the same scroll. So it's funny how they all fell until the last one. I just grabbed it because it was a short story. Under police officers, correctional officers. Okay. This one I did from the same town the other night. November 16, 2020. And it's the DeKalb, I think is how you say it. And I said it's another one, and it's from Atlanta, Georgia. Former DeKalb County police officer and Gangster Disciples member sentenced to prison. Now, this isn't 2 different people like I thought. This is one person. He is a police officer, and he is a disciple member. Now, I put it in there like they put it in there. Now, I know about disciple members, but they keep putting gangster disciple members. So I don't know if there's a separate group that added gangster, if they're just saying that because they're public officials. Okay, and I really don't know how to say his name. It's Vancito, and we'll go by his last name. Gums. A former DeKalb County police officer and gang member of the Disciples has been charged for racketeering conspiracy involving murder. Wait till you see. And I did get his charge at the end, and it's a joke. Again, Thin Blue Line Gang. They look out for each other. Okay, Vancito, I think it's Vancito Gums, moonlighted as a member of the Gangster Disciples while serving as a DeKalb County police officer. Gums, who had been photographed flashing a gang sign used by the Gangster Disciples, was a self-professed hitman. I was just trying so hard to get to that point. Hitman. He was a hitman for the Disciples. He was a police officer by day and a hitman by night. Come on. Would you want to be pulled over by this guy or the other guy who was attacking women? These are our police officers. And all of these were right before the beginning of the year. Okay. Was a self-professed hitman for the gang while serving as a police officer. He was captured on recording a recorded phone call while with the chief enforcer for the Georgia Gangsters Disciples. Evidence showed that during these calls, I don't know if it's Gums, if the B is silent, but it's Gumbs, Gums, relayed law enforcement information to the gang and provided a firearm to a fellow gang member. So he also gave somebody else a gun to commit a crime with, basically. On later calls, the chief enforcer noted that he had Gangster Disciples police officers at his disposal. So that may even say that there's more than one. And I hope that they're continuing an investigation and find out if there's more. Because he had Gangster Disciples police officers at his disposal. Okay. Again, that Vancito Gums, 28 of Stone Mountain, Georgia, was sentenced to 15 years of imprisonment, followed by 5 years of supervised release. Gums is convicted of the offense of RICO conspiracy, followed by a jury trial. That is all that he got. Basically, because he was a police officer. 15 years? 15 years he was murdering people. He was a hitman. He was giving guns. He was giving police information to keep the gang safe. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. 15 years. Again, I could, and again, before I say it, I would never, and trust me, I have a job, I take tests, I pass them all. I could go do some illegal substances and get caught and do more time than this police / gangbanger / hitman / information provider, whatever you want to call it, got in all these crimes that I just told you about. Are you kidding me? If it was you or me, it'd be a life sentence, because who knows how many murders that he did while he was being a hitman. Come on, people. And again, he's supposed to be held to a higher standard. He's supposed to serve and protect, and instead he's at night killing people. Jesus. Are you guys waking up yet? Am I waking anybody up? Have we at least got some laughs and something? I don't know. Oh, you know what? I walk around under these trees all day and wind whipping, and at the end of the night I feel so itchy everywhere. I'm so sorry. I know I'm always like scratching in the video, but I'm sure there's little bugs and stuff that come out the trees. God knows what else. Please, I don't even want to think about it. But sorry, I get itchy from that. It could just be the whatever's on the plants that are hitting me. I did get some serious bites. That's why this cheek was swollen and still looks a little swollen. I think I got a little spider bite here last week from the wind blowing things out the trees. All right, back to this. November 18th, again, 2020, Missouri, St. Louis. And the town is called Center. That threw me off when I started just reading it at first, until I realized the town was called Center. Now, this is our last story, and I just threw it in there because I had a little extra time since I ran out of time yesterday. Okay, grand jury indicts Northeast Missouri city clerk for her role in stealing city money. Once these people are in there, they just think they can do whatever they want to do. And again, they're above the law and they can use our money at will. And you know how many reports I've done on people stealing our money? And then they wonder why our system is in crisis. Okay, a federal grand jury indicted Tracy Ray, the 48-year-old Center, Missouri resident, which is the town, is charged with wire fraud and federal program theft. And again, they hit our federal programming. Tracy Ray was in charge of running all city financials, paying bills, etc., had control of several accounts, and could sign checks, etc., collecting and receiving all money, receiving by the city, etc. And I tried to shorten this because this was a very, very lengthy one. I thought it was going to be short, but it was easy for me to explain. She collected money from whatever was, going on in the town. She'd write the receipts up. She paid all the bills for the city, with whatever company was giving service to the city. And she falsified the logs by saying, the company had a charge for this or a charge for that, when she was really putting that money into her own account or paying bills with it. Just to kind of shorten it up so you understand too. She had total control, and she also had control where she could falsify the books. So Ray then engaged in a scheme to defraud and obtain money from Center, Missouri, in an approximate amount of $317,325.59 by means of a materially false and fraudulently pretenses. Again, my eyes go blurry. I start fumbling. I'm sorry. Pretenses, representations, and promises. Okay. She paid off credit card bills, life insurance policies for her family, grocery shopping, retail shopping, beauty, almost anything you can think of, traveling. She treated herself on the citizens' money. I cannot take that many notes on what she spent on, plus deposited it into her own account and gave herself a huge raise in her paycheck. How could she think she would not get caught the way she was doing all this spending like crazy? And I'm telling you, I had 2 paragraphs, maybe even 3 this long on what she was doing and what she was spending money on. She was just she just went crazy with it, having herself a heyday. The beauty parlor, mani-pedis, going out of town, shopping here, there, and everywhere, putting money into her own account, giving herself a major pay raise. She was just going crazy. Now, there was nothing even slick or sly about what she was doing. That's what made the story kind of funny for me, and that's why I wanted to end all that horrible stuff off with something kind of funny. And I said, let me just throw this in here. At the end, I had some extra time, and I had to get away from all that really brutal stuff that with the gang and the other one taking advantage of women. And again, these are people we are supposed to trust, and we're entrusting with a lot of money, or we're trusting them to protect us. We're trusting these people to do right by us. And it seems like they're always doing us wrong. You're not looking at the people you're putting in these positions anymore. They're just putting people in to fill them. And the ones who have the control, they keep themselves and their family and friends in there because they keep control of what's going on, and they can keep abusing the system that they are now in charge of. It's time to wake up and see this hasn't worked for a very long time in any way for us. It's only worked against us, and it's only gotten worse. So you can't just leave a broken system in place. It's got to be changed. And we have the power. We are the power. We are the ones who are supposed to have the say-so. But everybody has been, like I said, brainwashed for so long to believe that this is normal. And again, I know people are waking up, and I want to help people wake up. And I want you to see what's going on out there. And until you do, I'll keep feeding you in between my other stuff these horrible stories of what's going on regularly. See, when we see the news, we see their version of it, and we only see little parts of it. And we hear a story or two every couple months or years. They don't put it out there. You have to dig and look for it if you really want to know the truth. You think they're going to put this stuff on the news around the world every day? That's why they break it into little areas. And you only hear about your area and the bad stuff in your area. And they only put out so much. There's things that you'll say, like, I seen this happen today. Why isn't it all over the news? Because they don't want you to see it. They don't want you to know about it. Because obviously somebody was involved that shouldn't have been. And they don't want you to know that. So this is from all around the world. And several reports I read to you within just the last 3 days were all in the same area. And some were in different areas. But there's more and more and more. And if you add up every area and all the stuff that is out there and all the stuff that isn't out there, that's a whole lot of crooked stuff going on. And do you want these kind of police officers that I read tonight in your town? Because I guarantee there's some that are. I had to run in with an officer like that. And I've had some pretty other skeezy run-ins with some throughout my life. It's a broken system. It's time to revamp or get rid of it. And we, the people, need to make sure that happens, and before they come knocking on our doors. I said in another video of mine, I watched another channel a couple times, And throughout the riots and his postings, the riots that you know who did here recently with all the rich people, a blogger just like me, they came knocking on his door saying, you need to stop those hate speeches on your videos. That's government hate. No, it's freedom of speech. Now, I hope I never get that knock on my door. But again, this is our right. And if they take us down and they don't allow us to do it, again, it's a violation of our constitutional rights. Will you allow that? Because once that goes, you might as well throw all your rights out the window. Free speech is the main one. And if that goes, that means they have taken total control of us. And I hope and pray none of you will ever let it get to that. Because at that point, we are done. So, I think I've run my mouth enough tonight. Again, sorry, I'm human. I have there you go, imperfections. And I am who I am. And I love me. I love me. And that's not being conceited. I love me because I know I can look at people's faults and still love them. And trust me, if you knew me, you'd know. Sometimes I love the people who are unlovable to other people. But I know we're all people. And I know that we all have our flaws and we all have our faults. And nobody should ever be judged for that. And that's why I give it to you raw and who I am. And if you love me, you love me. If you don't, you don't. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. But I'm as honest as you're going to get out there. And I think those are the types of people that need to be running our country. People like me. People who care. And if I can get people to open their eyes and follow and try to find somebody out there who can do it and has a heart like mine, I believe we would find somebody to really take us in a new direction. Because I know good people and I know bad people. And I have a certain instinct for them. And I don't want to be around bad people. I don't want to involve myself around bad people or nasty people. I will deal with hurt or broken people. I will deal with lost people. I will deal with good people. And I will try like hell to help anybody I can that needs my help, and I always have. And so I can say I honestly love the person I am. And I hope the people who feel that way about themselves will start to follow me because they know that they found somebody they can trust. I will never steer somebody in the wrong direction. In fact, I'm somebody who a lot of people come to for advice. And you got to do what your heart tells you to do and where it leads you. And you've got to always try to be a good person, not just for you, but everybody else. And if I make a difference in this world in any way, I know my life was worth living. And I was of value here. And I believe that's how everybody should live their life. Trying to better things, not destroy them. Well, that's enough of my rambling. I'm sorry. I'm going to let you guys go because it's getting to that time. But if I, again, make a difference in your life or I've touched you in some way, please join my group. Let's grow. Let's get big. Let's make some changes, some positive and good ones. Because that's what we're really put on this earth to do. And I thank God for good people. And we need more of them out there, more of them taking a stand and letting their voices be heard. All right, guys. I love you. God bless. Have a great night. And I will see you on my next video.